Welcome back to week 8 of the chase, the office edition. I'm getting ready to go meet Mike. Gotta get a couple things here. We're gonna make a hunt out on the 28-acre piece tonight using the decoy, so that'll be exciting. But on top of that, it's been a fun week. You know, I got to produce my first main show. It's gonna come out on Monday. It's Mike's kill, that deer we call Vinny. Gavin did a phenomenal job laying down the footage. Awesome encounter, and it's a hunt you guys aren't going to want to miss. As far as this week goes, a lot of work getting done. We're getting to that busy time of the year. I made one sit in the morning, first sit on the river farm. I shouldn't say river farm, I gotta find a better name for that farm, but it was a fun sit. We hung in the pinch that we scouted during the summer, and not a fantastic hunt by any means, but routed in a spike, had a couple doe fawns and a couple doe groups. Had to get out early around 9 to go get some work done, but I'm excited to hunt that spot again. And they just took the corn off of that farm, so it's gonna get better, as I talked about in the summer. There's so many pinch points around the perimeter of that farm that I think it really lends itself to be a rut funnel farm. With corn out, it's gonna pinch them down. Sorry for the train in the background, but it's about 3 o'clock now, so we're trying to get this video done. And on this week's episode, we're gonna join old Gavin. Now let me jump in here real quick. Old boy is hard at work. He had a encounter with a deer on public land on the ground, and then he's gonna dive through some strategies and things he's learned as far as ground hunting, not maybe specific to public, Gavin.
Just in general, I mean,
yeah.
Done a lot of ground hunting here and there in the past, and it's tough. you learn some things along the way for sure, so hope you guys enjoy it.
Get those latitude knee pads out.
Yeah.
Hope you guys enjoy the show, and we'll catch up with you next week.
Well, October 20th is here, and we are back out on the public today. Lots of activity in here, lots of different bucks. We've got that short-tined, you know, kind of crazy looking buck. He's big looking and mean and pushing other deer around and stuff. And here he'd be a great one. I was thinking he could be this buck that I called Inside Points a couple years ago that used to actually run with the 6x5 that I killed, which is cool. If it is him, A, I had 0 pictures of him last year, and B, he would be 5.5 this year, if I had to guess. So, you know, there's plenty of trees in here that would be good, but the good ones are all oak trees that have tons of branches going up them. Obviously, you can't cut things out on public land. And so, fortunately or unfortunately, depending on how you look at it, we're set up on the ground. And we'll see if we can get away with it. I told Dave. Threw out a few grunts, waited. Heard the branches breaking again. Grunted a couple more times and then scraped the grass like I was making a scrape. And he came within 5 minutes right to us. Of course, in the exact wrong spot you want him to. But it seems like mature bucks tend to do that. He was mature. That's that buck with all the inside points and stuff. I stared at him for a good 7-8 minutes. I couldn't even tell you what that was, but I don't think Dave was able to get on him. He's basically facing away. And man, hunting on the ground is so hard. So hard, especially in this. There's just no topography, nothing to really truly hide behind. Man, he was freaking sweet though. Holy smokes. That doesn't happen every day. Well, good morning everyone. Saturday, October 26th. It's a beautiful day here in Iowa. I just got back from hunting with Mike this morning. We had a great hunt. Beautiful morning in the tree and everything. And really this time of year is among our favorites of seeing great deer action. This morning actually I got some pictures of a buck chasing a doe out on the public, which is cool to see. They're really starting to feel it. Great weather on the horizon. Currently some pretty great weather. I mean, pressure was in the 30.5 range this morning, which is just crazy. So good luck to you guys if you're getting out. It's obviously shaping up to be an awesome couple weeks with the weather we've got in the forecast and all these things. So good luck to you. As you saw on the front end of this video, last week, Dave and I went out to the public and had ourselves a crazy encounter. I wish there was more footage to show with it. At the end of the day, just didn't set up very well. The setup was decent, but not great. And so we, of course, didn't get any footage of it. It was a great buck. It was an awesome encounter. Me as the guy seeing it. I mean, you just don't get to be face to face with a mature buck on the ground like that in bow range very often. So cool from that perspective. But really just wanted to kind of walk you through that hunt, kind of where we messed up in the setup and all these things, as well as just some things that I've learned ground hunting over the years, and just a few takeaways that I've learned and hopefully can pass on to you if you do any ground hunting. So the GoPro angles definitely do a good job of kind of painting the picture of the setup. Turn the volume off there. So this one's facing up at me. This one, you can see I do kind of a little pan, and so essentially we were set up to shoot this spot over here. There's a great big gap right there, and there's two oak trees, this tree here and this tree here, that are just raining acorns. I mean, it's crazy. Every time we go in there and sit, it's just like, it sounds like there's deer walking around because there's that many acorns falling. Anyway, set up to film that and to shoot that. And we've got this little slough right here in front of us, bedding off to the left primarily, and bedding out in front behind those little oak trees there. When it comes to the setup itself, as you can see, we're basically both on either side of this little bush right here. You can see these branches that are branches from an oak tree that's right there, a pin oak, and they hang really low, and so offering a decent amount of cover there. And me being left-handed and to shoot off to my right, I was thinking that being on the other side of this little brush pile, that I could tuck up against it pretty closely to stay, you know, as hidden as possible, and also still be able to draw my bow cleanly and get a shot off. But again, that was only to shoot off in front of us to those oak trees. What I of course didn't account for, and we did not set up well for, was straight behind this shot, just basically the way that the shot's pointing. And so back in here and even to the left some more, it's just kind of a thick area, but you know, ultimately just didn't go through the mental thought process of realizing that that could be a prime spot for deer to come through. Jumping back to the GoPro here, you can see this over the shoulder angle kind of really paints the picture of what we had going on. Again, the oaks up there, big oak tree off to the left, providing that cover. But you can see how low that it's hanging, and so I was not going to be able to get a shot off to the left. And that's exactly where that deer came from. So he basically came straight to us from that direction off to the left there. And I mean, essentially was coming straight to that call. Like I said in the interview, I could hear him raking a branch, making a scrape, whatever he was doing. And I called to him and he came straight to that call. You know, had I not called to him, maybe he would have moseyed out and never known we were there, who knows, but ultimately thought calling would have been a good thing to do in that situation. But as we all know, deer can pinpoint calls really, really well, and he proved that for sure, and came right to us. So on the filming side of things, you can see my scruffy, beautiful face here. Dave is, again, back on the other side of this bush back here, and his back and my back are essentially, you know, facing each other. So he is pointing straight away from me, but the camera is pointed to the left to film that gap where those oaks are at. And so did not set him up well. Obviously I couldn't get a shot off to the left, but did not set up him well to be able to film to the left. And that's ultimately what made it difficult to be able to get any footage of this buck. So all in all, setup wise, did not really do a good job thinking that through. And that just kind of leads me into, when it comes to ground hunting, I've done it a decent amount over the years in Ohio before I came out here to Iowa, and being out here in Iowa, just here and there hunting on the ground, depending on the situation, really learned a few things. First and foremost being the setup. I mean, the setup truly is everything. And you know, you need good cover. It's always best to have good cover in the front of you and in the back of you to break up your outline as much as possible. You know, that's the tricky thing about hunting on the ground, is that you're at eye level with the deer, and with the deer's natural instincts, they're tuned into everything that's going on around them much more than we are or anything else. So, you know, you really have to pay attention to getting good cover, and that has to be at the forefront of your setup. Another big thing that you can see in this shot is with the evening sun being, you know, setting, we're basically facing straight northwest, west, whatever. The sun is right on us as it sets. Now it does dip below the trees at a decent time, and so you do get some shade, but one thing that can really work into your advantage is the shadows too. So like back in this corner, you know, there's a ton of brush back in there, and so it wouldn't be really feasible to have a setup in there. But using any types of shadows to aid in that cover, again, when you pair that with a brush pile in front of you or something, like if we were able to tuck up against this with this behind us, this kind of bent over tree right here, with something in front of us, clear shooting lanes, I mean, that would be a totally different story. Another dynamic that you can see in this shot is when it comes to public land, obviously you can't cut branches. And so, again, had all these branches really low, and they provided great cover. Like I've mentioned, I did have this little camo cloth here to kind of shield that side, because I knew I wasn't going to be able to shoot over there, and hopefully shield any deer that are going to come through this way and come to these oaks over here. But having clean shooting lanes is super important, and basically, again, it just comes down to really thinking through your setup, mapping out exactly every single scenario that could take place and the likelihood of them taking place. Again, I knew that there was going to be primarily bedding off down this slough to the left and bedding off back behind the oaks back that way. And so really should have thought through, okay, I need to be able to shoot here primarily and here primarily. And ultimately we pigeonholed ourselves, and you kind of saw the results. So it always helps, of course, to have something to take the deer's attention off of you. So a decoy, Caleb has used that heads-up decoy, that's ultimate predator decoy, rather. And things like that, obviously, if you have an actual decoy that you set out in front of you, something for those bucks to key in on, something for those deer to key in on, rather than you. This river bottom stuff is super thick, but really this canary grass in here lays down quite a bit, and it doesn't provide much cover. And so just as much as anything, well, granted we didn't have great cover, if we would have maybe had a decoy, even on the front of my bow or something, that could have helped take the attention off of us and allowed for that encounter to maybe play out more and maybe get a shot. So few things there, it's kind of basic stuff, but at the end of the day, if you've ever ground hunted, I'm sure you can relate to this, in that your setup is truly everything. I mean, it really is. Taking the time to like really think out all those different scenarios that could come into play, using the best knowledge that you have of that area where deer are primarily going to be coming from, being able to shoot there is going to set you up for success. So hopefully this a little bit helps you. Again, I wish we could have gotten footage of this because it was, being able to witness it myself was incredible. Again, you don't get to see that very often. So hopefully we can get back in on that deer. He has been in there on camera since that encounter, but it's been a lot more sporadic. So like I mentioned, bucks are moving and shaking, they're feeling good, and I'm excited to stay out in the woods. I hope you guys are having good luck, and thanks for watching as always.